think, Bob, you're still, may have to turn your sound up.
It's up.
Rick, you're gonna have to turn your birds off.
Hey, shut up out there.
Working inside today, huh? Is it raining out?
Yeah, it's been on and off raining, and it's like 60%.
I had one drop when we walked this morning. That was it. One.
This is
Had a
why
lot of rain last night.
Yeah, we had 1.25 inches last night.
Yeah, got a lot of rain last night.
Isn't this the signature of tiger bark?
Bark?
Too far away. Can't see it.
Yeah.
It's too far away.
Still too far. We can't see.
Well, open your eyes.
Well, bring it closer.
They don't get any wider.
I'm trying.
There, we can see the hair on your arms. Just put the tree there.
Turn your chair around.
Is that a bonsai palm?
Oh, yes, I see what we're doing here. Okay. That more gooder?
That's better.
Gooder. Yeah, I think you're right.
You have the horizontal stripes.
Yeah. That the microcarpa or one of those guys, I really not too sure. It's cute. That's all I know.
Yeah. Nice.
Looks like it's going to be a small group today. Just the 4 of us.
What, 3 after it?
Got your cabinets all stuffed, Kathy?
They're in place. The guy for the counters came and did the template, so now we're waiting for the counters to go in. They can't do anything else until that has been taken care of. Once that's done and the sinks are in, then the plumber can come in and they can do the tile backsplash and, you know, do that kind of detail stuff. But yeah, the big stuff is in.
What kind of sink did you get?
Sort of a Korean kind of sink. It'll be, you know, blended into the countertops, which I like. It's a double sink with a small size on one side and the bigger on the other side. So yeah, kind of like what I had, which works. But I've discovered that the bathroom sinks are not designed for kitchen sink work.
Yeah.
Work out of the bathrooms to get it.
Yeah. I mean, my cutting board is like this and the sink is like that, you know. All right, how do I wash this now? Yeah.
Turn the shower on, you have a dishwasher.
Something, yeah. Actually, that's a thought. That's a thought at this point. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's kind of like camping. You know, every time you set up a camp somewhere, everything is different, but it's still an adventure. Yeah. Eventually you know, I get into a routine. And, yeah. So I was telling Rick, I wanted to go over my stones talk with you today to narrow it down and get some feedback. So you know, maybe we'll start with that or eventually get to that. But I did want to talk about, what is it, the Weigerts did I think I sent out an email saying that the Weigerts were doing a demonstration with Mike Lane. And that was really interesting. He did some advanced stuff. And I thought one of the most interesting things was something he calls double potting. And I'm trying to draw a diagram here so you can see what I'm talking about, where you put a small bonsai into a larger pot with some bonsai soil to help keep it from drying out too fast. Can you see this?
Yeah.
All right. So that way, you know, when you water it, the water will go through. You don't have a puddle of water, you know, like you would if you had a dish underneath it. And it keeps the especially small shohin stuff, the smaller sizes, it keeps the moisture a lot longer. And you don't have to water quite so frequently. Because especially the small stuff, you might be watering 2-3 times a day at this point, if it's not raining, obviously.
Didn't he also say that would promote growth?
We didn't hear you, Bob.
Didn't he also say that would promote growth?
Yeah, he said, yeah. If you, the roots of the potted plant go down into this other soil and gives it more energy. So if you're trying to promote growth, thicken it up, and introduce, you know, more growth on the top, that's a good way of doing it. And then when you lift it up, all you have to do is cut the roots off the bottom. It's still potted, but it gives those roots somewhere else to go rather than becoming totally pot bound. So it had several advantages, especially with small stuff. And I thought it was a good idea. So. All right, somebody's got music on. All right, I would like to get started on what I want to do, which is my talk on stones. Bob, I don't know if you know it, but I'm doing a talk for the Shofu Bonsai group up in Sarasota via Zoom. They would like me for 20 minutes to do a talk on viewing stones. So I've been trying to come up with something that's 20 minutes long, considering that it has been documented that this art form has been in existence since the year 600. To do a 20-minute presentation is kind of weird, but anyway. So what I thought I would do, I started out with lots of notes, and this is how I take notes. The bubble effect, and I've got notes for criteria, for display, for history. Yeah, I mean, and I kept saying, Kath, you're not going to get through this way. So I came up with, basically, I want to talk about what is it in general, and give a quick little bit of this, that, and the other thing. So I would start out with that it's an art form, and as an art form, Western thinking, to me, anyway, this is my opinion, that, yes, what?
Stop. Instead of telling us what you think you're going to do, why don't you just do it? Pretend like we are Shofu, and we'll take notes and provide you with critique afterwards.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And also, if somebody could time you, I don't have a clock close by.
You have a phone?
Yeah, but
Time
I'm
the
using
entire thing? I got one right here.
Yeah. You could go in and into the alarm, or
Yeah, well, not while I'm talking to you. I can't.
No, but Sue can, because she's not using her phone.
And she's a professional too. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And she can say, get on your mark, get set, go.
Right.
And you get your ducks in a row, get ready to Zoom.
Okay. You set the stage here.
So just, you'll tell me when you want to stop? Is that how, I'm just going to time the length,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So go ahead.
All right, I'll start with the art form again. I've set it up so you can see things as I use it to demonstrate with. But as an art form, Western thinking is art is something that humans produce. Paintings, sculpture, dance, music as an art form. Whereas in Asian thinking, it's more of something that humans perceive or decide is art. Therefore, a rock that is interestingly shaped can be considered art. And so so that's a different way of thinking of things using natural forms. In Asia, they'll also use roots that have interesting shapes to them. They'll have rocks, trees, the idea of bonsai. Those kinds of things are considered art, even though they're not necessarily made by a human being. I think humans have always been fascinated with rocks. I've watched my grandson pick up pretty rocks out of our driveway that was loaded with rocks because he was fascinated by these colors, by the shapes. And I think a lot of people, go to a different country, go to a different place, a beach or somewhere, and will come home with a rock in their suitcase. It may not be a big rock, but it's sort of a free souvenir, as you could say. But I think people have always been somewhat fascinated with the idea of rocks. A rock in an unusual position, or a rock that has shaped. Up in New Hampshire, there is a old man of the mountain. It's the side of a mountain that it's a rock, but it's all shaped like a man's head in a certain angle. And it's a landscape or something you would see and say this is a trailblazing rock or something.
A landmark.
A landmark. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. So the rocks and in Asia, especially old rocks are considered, well, they're all old rocks, obviously, but I mean, some of these rocks are considered elders and are venerated, even though they're maybe, sitting in a field or sitting in the river or sitting on a desk. They're considered elders. My own interest in rocks started with seeing pictures of rocks in magazines of bonsai, especially Bonsai on Display, where there's been rocks shown, and I've always admired the idea of having a mountain that I could pick up. And I decided I was going to make one, and I did. Came home with a piece of soapstone that I thought was, wait a minute, like that.
That's good.
Okay, this piece of soapstone that I carved and I sanded and filed, and then I waxed it. And I put my name and the year on the back. You can't see it, but it's there. And then I glued it to what I thought looked like an oriental stand. My husband routed it out. I nailed the feet on the bottom and I glued it. Essentially, I did everything wrong. First, I made the stone. Then I put wax on it. And then I glued it to the stand. And, but it's my first one and I still like it. I still enjoy having it around. Curiously, I made this one in 1996. And then I have this stone. There you are. Okay. This one was created by Sean Smith. Now, Sean Smith is up in Pennsylvania. He's also noted for his bonsai. And I know he has been a demonstrator for the Bonsai Societies of Florida in the past. And he was instrumental in setting up the stone symposiums. But this was a very early Sean Smith stand that he created. This is a stand that was, the rock is sawed, which is something that the Japanese will do. They have no problems with that. Chinese will not. If you have a flat stone, flat naturally formed stone in China, that's good. But in Japan, you can sand them. You can cut them off. But this stand was also made by Sean Smith, also in 1996. So the two of us sort of started about the same time. And this is a very rough, and what's important is that he signed it by hand and he dated it, which he's not doing anymore, which is too bad. I think that everything should be dated. So I started learning about stones and discovering that, yes, I'm doing everything wrong by making my own stone. And the idea is you find a naturally formed stone that looks like a landscape. I keep getting my little name in the corner there.
That's good.
Okay, good. A landscape feature. And in Suisiki, which is the word we're using to determine, to talk about these stones, basically means a landscape-shaped stone. Now, an object stone would be a bonsiki. And if you're in China, it's a goshin, scholar's rocks, viewing stones. And I think in the United States, we would call it a really cool rock.
Ethan rocks.
Rocks, yes, right. So it's a naturally formed stone. And as I said, in Japan, you can saw the base off. So if you're around somebody who does a lot of rocks like Sean Smith, and there's a stream nearby, there's a lot of rocks in that stream that have pieces sawed off of them, because he'll bring a rock home and then saw off the piece he wants and then dumps the rest of the rock into the stream. You know, who knows? Another couple of billion years, it might be another Suisiki. Yeah. It started, the art form started in Asia. We like to say China, but you know, China that we know now wasn't around. But it started in Asia because they venerated age. They venerated the really old. And in Asia, the gods were considered to be living in mountains. The mountains had a lot of holes in them, caverns, rivers, whole worlds were within these mountains, and the gods lived in these mountains. And if you're in an area where you can see mountains in the distance, you know, it's easy to imagine the gods living there. So coming up with mountain shapes was common, or shapes of rocks that had a lot of holes in them. Holes were very influential in the Asian types of stones. And the process went through Korea, Vietnam, Malaysia. I mean, it's very common in all those areas for this. It moved from the mainland China into Japan via the Buddhist monks. And once in Japan, the Japanese with their Shinto and their Zen and their attitudes changed the idea of rocks from something that was a lot of holes and more upright into something more formal and into what we are now calling Suisiki. The Suisiki word is I think we're adapting that word very much like we've adapted bonsai. bonsai, basically is a Japanese word. It does not describe Chinese trees in pots. Chinese trees in pots is punjing. And then the same thing goes for Korean, Hanobon in Korea. So we're adapting the word bonsai. We're also adapting the word suisiki to basically mean any stone naturally formed on display. And it could be a landscape stone, it could be an object stone, it could be an abstract stone, it could be almost any kind, but that's the word we're using at this point. The criteria, and there is a criteria, there's definitely a criteria, has various things to use, such as shape. Is it a mountain stone? Is it a waterfall stone? Is it a plateau stone? Is it an island stone? Is it a bridge stone? Is it a cavern stone? Is it an object stone? Is it a hut stone? Is it a person, human stone, an animal? Some people collect stones in the shapes of food. Pork chops shaped stone, or pie sliced shaped stone. I mean, there's all kinds of shapes that you could be looking out for. Something called wabi-sabi, or age. And for that illustration, I have this little rock, little polished rock. I picked this rock up in 1965. It was on a beach of polished rocks in South Norwalk, Connecticut. And it's been in my pocket or in my hand since then. And it's what I call a worry stone. You remember the worry stones back in the 60s and the 70s? Well, that's what this is. And it's constantly being polished. And it has a nice sheen to it. Can you see the sheen? No, you can't. All right. It has a nice sheen to it, a nice soft polish to it. And that's from just rubbing, And that's one of the things that they're looking for. Is the stone polished? For instance, this is a heavy stone. This is a far view mountain stone. I would call this a rocky mountain stone, and this is an Appalachian stone, rocky mountain stone. But this stone has a sheen to it that probably from water sluicing over it for eons, or possibly from hands. If you had a stone that was around in the year 600, and it's been passed down through generations of families and generations of people who have gone and polished it with their hands, after a long time, you're going to get a real nice sheen for it. And one of the things they say is you rub the side of your nose and take the oil, and then you rub it on the stone. Why you can't use olive oil, I don't know, or linseed oil or any of those oils, but no, it's got to be your nose oil has to be used, and then you rub it on the stone. That's what they say. Anyway, by the way, this stone was given to me by Vito Morangila, and I asked him at the time he gave it to me in 2013. I asked him, where he got it. And he said somebody in New York gave it to him when he was still in New York. And I know he was at the New York Botanical Garden learning bonsai when I think Yoji Yoshimura was working there. So I thought, ooh, is there a possibility? And no, all he could remember was somebody named Joseph Colombo. So I looked up the name Joseph Colombo, and it turns out there's a lot of material on a Joseph Colombo, but he was a mafioso boss. And there was absolutely nothing mentioned about his interest in any stones. So I have my doubts as to whether or not this Joseph Colombo had anything to do with this rock.
Did you carve the diza for it?
I did not. Whoever did it in the beginning, no.
In your Rocky Mountain one, did you do that one?
This one I did. Yeah, this one I did.
I would let people know that you do that.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting. That's a skill. That's an art.
It is an art.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's a craft that not a lot of people have.
Yeah. I noticed that there was a price on this, a price tag still for $125 on this rock.
Such a deal.
And if this guy had it up in, Joseph Colombo gave it to Vito in 1980. So this guy had it before 1980, and at 1980, $125 was a lot of money.
Yeah, it was.
So, you know, and then Vito had it from until 2013. Color is important. Color generally is dark, is what they're looking for most of the time. A dark color, black is preferred, but you know, a gray. And of course, my favorite, this one is definitely not colored correctly. But yeah, color is considered, dark is considered the ideal, but you can get other colors as well. Autumn, there's one mountain I saw that was called Autumn Mountain, and it had oranges and greens in it, and you know, it seemed very appropriate, but it was generally in dark color. Color pattern stones, on the other hand, are something else. Color pattern stones, for instance, I have here, I don't know if you can see it, if I darken it. Okay, can see that? That's a chrysanthemum stone. Now the chrysanthemum is a natural formation, it's crystals that have formed within the rock. And in the rock, dimensional ball, and as they slice it or cut it, you know, you're going to get the flat chrysanthemum effect. Now this is a natural shard of the chrysanthemum stone. Usually they are a rounded stone and they're highly, and sometimes you'll see them where they have carved the chrysanthemum around the chrysanthemum to give it more of a three-dimensional effect. So, I mean, and they're very expensive. Color pattern stones might include pictures in the stone from the inclusions of the stone. So that would be a color pattern stone. There's also an art form of small pebbles. They're about that big around, small pebbles that are displayed in a dish of water. Those would be color pattern stones. Another thing to consider when you're using stones is the status of the stone. The stone status is important. Vito gave me this, somebody gave it to him, so handed and passed on. In Asia, whole wars were fought over a rock. Emperors ended up with a lot of rocks because the idea was to pass a stone on to somebody of higher importance so that the stone you go to the Chinese emperor's palace, you're going to see some very large, magnificent rocks displayed in the yard, big rocks displayed in the yard. Books. I have a number of books here. This is probably one of the first books. Is it backwards on the screens?
No,
Okay, you can see it because it's backwards on my screen.
no, it's right way around.
Okay, good, good. All right, this was written by Yoji Yoshimura in 1984. It's one of the first books in English about viewing stones. And this book, particular one, this is a paperback. If you can get a hold of the first edition hard copy, you're going to pay a lot of money for it, I'll tell you. But so he talks about stones, and you'll see a stone on the front. I've seen that stone displayed. It's not a big stone, but because it was published and because Yoji Yoshimura had it, that stone has a lot of status. You'll pay a lot of money for the stone. Felix Rivera in California is a pioneer of stones in this country. And yes, he's published books. And I think a lot of the books are published so that the stones that people own will gain status and they can sell them. This is about Chinese stones. This man had Richard Rosenthal, okay, he was a Chinese expert on Chinese stones, and he had an exhibition at the Yale Art Gallery in New Haven, and I saw it, and I just started my interest in formal rocks, and I was quite literally blown away with some of the stuff that was on display. He had a stone that was so dense and so hard that you could tap it with a tool and it rang. It was considered a gong. It rang. And I kicked myself because he gave a speech at the Yale Art Gallery that following weekend and I didn't go. And then he died shortly after. And I kicked myself for not having taken an opportunity. But he really gets into the stones and the stands, the dyes that go with them, and the natural world. He has a lot of roots in here that you could check out. And another person, Kim and Hu, specializes in Chinese rocks. She's in Massachusetts, so she came to the Connecticut Club frequently. And so I've got several of stones that she has had. And Chinese rocks are very different than Japanese rocks. Here's another one on the back. A lot more holes, grooves, and the stands, some of the stands are just phenomenal. By the way, there's a legend called Mi-Fu. Mi-Fu bows to the rock. Mi-Fu was an actual person, a nondescript official, and as he was on the way to a city to be able to report something or other, he stopped his entourage, got into his public clothing, and went to this rock and bowed respectfully to this rock. And that's this. And you will see stones depicting that legend.
Cool.
Yeah, the respect that what you don't see in this country for a rock. But by the way, Kim and Hu is very interesting. She published several books on rocks. Now, for my display, this is a Chinese rock. Chinese style. This is a more modern style Chinese rock that is considered a big head style. I wonder where that name came from. A big head style, a lot of holes, a lot of grooves, and very well worn. These are found a lot in caves. So caves are a big source. Italy gets a lot of rocks. The far view, near view mountain stone I showed you earlier was from Italy, and that was from a cave. And the stand, can you see the stand? All right, these little bumps have an official name. The name translates into goddess's tits.
There's enough
I
of
like
them.
it.
Don't know why. All I can think of is it's very strong green tea these guys over there are drinking, that's for sure. But yeah, this is a very typical modern Chinese kind of a stand. This type of a stand for this kind of a rock. Object rocks. We have a boat. Can you see the boat?
Mm-hmm.
All right, a boat rock. Hut stones are very popular. Anything that has like a thatched roof, hut stone. I made the stand for it. It looks like water in the stand. I wanted to show you this rock. Okay, this rock I have out in my yard. Okay, this could be a very interesting Chinese stone. Can you see it better? Up here, up top. What it doesn't have, though, is that nice gloss from water running on it. So this will probably end up as a landscape stone in a bonsai somewhere, rather than, of course, I might just, for the hell of it, try and make a stand for it, see if I can get a big head style to actually stand up. I mean, it's not easy. You really got to work on that. And then there's this. This is a root. Okay, yeah.
But is it a stone or?
No, it's a
rocks
root.
or what?
It's wood. This is a root.
So how come that's in the stone collection?
Well, it's in the Oriental art collection.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
it's not petrified, is it?
Nope, it's not petrified. It is very hard. I got this from a bonsai dealer over on the East Coast. He didn't know what to do with it. He sold it to me for $5. And it has a name on it. It says Sam Lancet. It's got a brass plaque that says Sam Lancet.
Well, that's my cousin.
Is it?
No.
Oh, damn. I tried to find out who he was, and apparently he's a 125-year-old man in California at this point. But I have no idea. You know, he must have known something about Oriental art. You know, I would really like to find out who he was and, you know, how he factored into and how he ended up with something like that.
Well, it's well worth $5. I mean, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
That character.
It sure does. You know, it's an object stone. It looks like a critter of some sort, you know.
That's what I thought. I saw a turtle.
Yeah, turtle. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. All right, then I'll end up with my latest, which of course is Aladdin. Which I got this stone in Japan, 2010. And I was one of a group of about 8 people who went to Japan as a group. And only one other person picked up a rock in their suitcase. And guess who the 2 people were that had to open their suitcases at customs?
Did they do it?
Unfortunately, the head was applied. The head is separate. It was applied and added to it, which means had the head been an actual part of the original stone, it would be worth a lot more.
You wouldn't have bought it.
I wouldn't have been able to afford it. But yeah. And when I make a stand, I put my name on the back. The Asians don't put their names on. I would say the very ancient stones, probably, you know, you were an emperor or a shogun, you had minions, and damned if your minions were going to put their name on anything you owned. So that, you know, there are some phenomenal stands in China, what they call the open work Southern style of water waves that are amazingly carved, or air depictions holding a rock, air, or plants, plant forms, twining vines and leaves and flowers holding up a rock. And I mean, amazing carvings, just amazing carvings. So there you are.
That's it?
That's it.
31 minutes and 36 seconds.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oops, gotta hone some more here.
What were you aiming for?
It's just a generalization of you know,
Oh, for time.
20 minutes.
Oh.
Well, that's what they told me. I figured their Zoom is probably a 40-minute. They're doing the free Zoom. So their limit to 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So they probably want to do a business meeting first or something and then have me fill in the rest. So
Well, you'll probably shave a little bit off just doing it a second time.
probably. Yeah. So what should be shaved off?
I would go down to your 2 favorite books
Uh-huh.
and just stick with 2 books. That'll shave off a few minutes right there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I would say the Yoji Yoshimura one, and then the Chinese to show, you know.
Or
Yeah,
you could
you'll-
even give that to the club and tell them, you know, here's a book list. You could do that in your email or something.
Right, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah. Well, there are tons of books out there now.
Mm.
Yeah. So, what else?
I don't know.
How about my setup so you could see?
Yeah, that's a good setup.
All right, good. Yeah, I wanted you to be able to see because I remember, you know, Weigart's bonsai with Mike Lane. Mike kept showing the tree with his head in the back, and you couldn't see the tree. You know, I mean, he all you do is move it over to one side where they had a plain background, and then you could see the tree. So I suggested in one of the comments that they move the camera off to one side so that when he held something up, you know, it would be off to one side.
Isn't this last one that you showed, is that not, don't you call that Aladdin?
Aladdin, yeah.
Well,
on his
I would
magic
put
carpet.
that, yeah, and I would add that to your, you know, when you're describing it, because that's kind of interesting. It brings the stand in. Why is the stand wavy? Because that's his carpet. And I think that's interesting what you did with it.
Mm.
The other thing is, do you have a pad in front of you where you have your bullet points?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Aha, aha.
Uh-huh. Got my pen.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking, you know, kind of like an outline. I mean, that's how I do it. When I'm giving a talk, I do an outline as opposed to a circle. And I understand because we kind of use that program at Tervis when we're spitballing ideas and whatnot. I would stick as close to your outline as possible because you have a tendency to go off.
Yeah.
And not necessarily on a tangent, but maybe give more information than you have time to give. But I mean, it's all good stuff. It's very interesting. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was 30 minutes, but I mean, time goes by fast.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I go off. I mean, I even like I say, I've got all these papers and all these notes and all these things, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, I'm in trouble already.
Yeah, make yourself one outline and then hit that. That's what I would recommend. That's just me. Sue?
Yeah, I would tend to do that, and I would like put key words in marker or something so you can glance at it instead of having to actually read it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All good. All good.
Yeah, I like it though. It's good. It's a good presentation. It's interesting. A lot of people just don't know about that. And don't be afraid.
Down here, there's not that much
Stones.
Yeah, and most of it. There's no stones down here.
No stones.
Not the kind that you need for.
Yeah.
You know, you
You
gotta
gotta come see our yard sometime, Kathy. We got stones all over the place.
Yeah, you got stones, but they're not the right kind.
No,
they're not
no.
dense. They're not dark. They're not water worn. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, they don't have status.
Right.
That they don't have.
My stones are peons.
Peons.
Yeah, you know, yeah, low
No,
class.
believe it or not, Wayne actually collects stones. He used to grab them when he'd see them when he was out delivering mail.
Oh yeah.
And then a friend brought one back from Tennessee. So, you know, he's got some that we brought down from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a stone from my father's driveway. I've got a stone from Italy. I've got a stone from Mount Etna in Sicily, Italy. I've got a stone from a lake up in Maine. Yeah, I mean, I come home with stones all over the place. One of the things I'm looking for would be a stone. Yeah, they're free generally. I got one from Nova Scotia that from the national park where
I like
you're not
that one.
supposed to take stones.
Chocolate with frosting.
There you go, a color pattern stone.
Yeah.
Looks like roots.
Oh, you got stones, yeah.
That's got nice color on it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, we collect stones, as you can see.
Carve stands.
Wow.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Back over there again. Go back over the other side.
I will. I'm getting my light because there's no light in here.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that one right there. What is that one?
This one?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where we got that. But it does have that mountain feel to it, doesn't it?
Sure does.
And it's kind of flat.
Yeah.
It's got potential.
It do.
This is a mastodon tooth.
Oh.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
See the ribs on it? That's the side of it. Here's the top.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh.
Found that while we were drilling the well. It was sitting out near the dumpster.
What? How did you identify it?
Well, my buddy, who's Florida native, he's pretty good at it. And he saw, when we were drilling wells, which was for about 7 years, while you're cranking down on hard limestone, you have time to walk around in the new construction where they bring in a lot of fill from everywhere. And we found shark's teeth and bones, and this one just kind of stuck out. He knew what he was looking for, and he gave it to me.
Wow.
I said, "You're my best friend ever."
Yeah.
This
Wow.
is a piece of petrified wood that I believe I am in possession of illegally.
Probably. I
This
have
is-
some of that too.
Is that illegal to have?
Well,
You're not allowed to
supposed to
take it.
remove it.
Oh.
But I didn't. My parents did, so it's okay.
Yeah, I say we were out there in Arizona in 1976, and we came home with a couple of pieces of petrified wood too.
Hmm.
Weren't supposed to, but we did.
This is kind of interesting. I'm not real sure where this came from.
Uh-huh.
We like our stones, and then we have green stones, and then hollowed out sandstone with layers.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
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 Then we have that big blue guy back here. So yeah, we like you. We like stones.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Stone's good.
Stones free.
Stone's free if you don't get caught.
Yes. You say, I carried home that stone from the national park.
Sweating, getting pulled over every second.
Mhm.
All right.
So it's just the four of us this morning, huh?
Yeah.
Bob, you're so,
Yeah.
Bob, you're
Nobody
so
else
quiet.
showed up.
So back to bonsai. Look what I have.
It's a seed.
Yeah. Has anybody grown these?
What
Is
is
it
it?
a desert rose?
Adenium, yeah.
I think
Yeah. Didn't Gail say she was growing them?
Yeah, I sent her an email. I haven't heard back from her yet.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, you got a
I was
bunch.
supposed to wrap that shut, but I didn't. And here it is. All
They're
over.
all over the place.
They're so beautiful. When the sun shines on them, they totally shine.
Oh, yeah.
I believe that I saw on Facebook yesterday that Weigert's is having a wiring program this morning from 10 to noon. And Kathy pointed out that you can go back to the Weigert's Facebook page and catch it later. But Jason Osborne is doing the wiring class, and he's very good. That's one of his specialties is wiring. So if you have difficulty with wiring or just want some tips, I would recommend going to check that out.
Oh. Now, he's doing a class and they're videoing the class?
Well, no, I think it's similar to the Mike Lane type situation. He's doing a demo. He's wiring some stuff and telling you what he's doing. Kind of like what he did with us at the Shofu meeting. But I think this
That's
is like a
long
beginner.
demo. 2
This
hours.
is well, I think this is a like a beginner's kind of thing.
Oh, all right.
That would be ideal for me. Thank you for
Yeah. Well, you could go in now and catch the back end of it.
Yeah, what time is it? About 11?
Yeah.
I'll see the whole thing
Yeah.
when it comes on.
Okay. Otherwise, I don't have much else for
Yeah.
me. Good luck with the hurricane. Hopefully it stays on path and doesn't make a sharp right turn on us. Like
Yeah.
Charlie did.
Yeah.
One of them.
I don't know if you were here when Charlie came through, but that's exactly what happened. It was supposed to do exactly what this one is supposed to do, and all of a sudden decided it was going to come right up Charlotte Harbor,
Mm.
and it was nasty. So we'll
And it
keep our
did.
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Load up on batteries and water and canned goods, because the season's not over yet.
Mm.
No. I've been slowly getting all that stuff, multiple bottles of water. I mean, with my generator, I won't have any problem with electricity, but I still won't have water.
Mm.
Yeah, I need to go out and crank my generator, make sure it still cranks, but it
Yeah.
has the last few years. It's enough to run my refrigerator and the
Yeah.
stove for a little bit. And it keeps me happy. As long as she has her tea, she's good.
I'll have my air conditioner and my stove.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
refrigerator.
yeah. Brag, brag.
Yeah.
We'll be rocking.
We're coming to your house.
Bring a long extension cord.
No, we're moving in.
Yeah.
All right, then I will see you guys next week.
Oh,
Okay.
Rick, I wanted to ask you, how'd you do with the digging the other day?
Ah,
We did good.
Yeah.
You were there, weren't you?
No, didn't you go to another digging place or no?
We went there.
Saturday.
And right, well, Saturday Suze was there when we dug those up. But yes, there is another one coming up. We haven't done it yet.
Oh,
We haven't gotten the word to do it. And there's like 20 of them in there.
yeah.
And if you know anybody that would be interested, even if they want to put it in their landscape in their yard, I mean, there's going to be 20 of them that got to come out.
What are they?
Ilex.
Oh.
Oh. There's some smaller ones that you could work. They don't have to be. They're not all going to be big, but there are some nice ones in there too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I put a video out on our website on the Ichiban Facebook page, and I heard from Fred Domina. He's interested in having a couple, but he can't, of course, with his surgeries. He can't come and dig. I sent the video to the Shofu people and to the Bonsai Peeps people, and I had a couple people interested. If we can get some helping hands to dig them out, and they can take away what they want. But it remains to be seen. Within a couple of weeks, we're going to be digging those up.
Yeah, I can't really work in the heat. After that time we went last week, I slept for hours after that. Knocked out from the heat and humidity. And I didn't even do much, I was sweeping and
You were supervising, and it was wonderful.
I was supervising.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, I know exactly what you're saying. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing you want to do late in the day or early in the day, not in the middle of the day.
Or overcast, like this.
Today would be perfect, yeah.
Nice feet.
Thank you. I've had them for over 70 years. All right, I'll talk to you kids later.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks.
All right, guys.
I don't know how to get out of here. Oh, there it is.
Thanks for all your help, and thanks for sitting there listening.
Let's do it again next week. Run through it again. Well, yeah. I mean, I help you, hone your skills.
Hone my skills.
I don't
You guys
mind.
will be experts by the time I get through, right?
Put your egg timer up in front of you. You might want to do that. You might want to do that when you're practicing. Put your egg timer up.
Jeez.
You have an egg timer, don't you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. See you all later.
All righty, guys.
Right.
Yep. Thank you.